So My Hero Academia was a solid episode. I don't think this was the hype episode like the past few, but this was still a damn good episode. And I assume, I haven't really looked at like what titles like people were doing for other reviews, but if I had to put a hunch, put a wild guess on what people are going to majorly talk about this week, it would be the hero killer. I feel like that's going to be everyone's thumbnails, it's going to be everyone's titles, but for me, that's not the most interesting stuff. I mean, we will talk about that, but the stuff that I like the most is actually the Deku and All Might stuff, him recovering, and just everything that happened there. I think this was the best stuff. I could understand people with the violence, or just the action, or just the jaw drop moments will be people's favorites, but for me, the slower stuff was actually the best part of this episode. Seeing Deku recover, the fact that his hand is now crooked, like, he did major damage, to the fact that this nurse is saying, I will never heal you again, this is the last time. You both need to figure out how he can use this power without blowing up his body, because I'm not going to do this again, because you already see the damage. Look at your crooked hand for reference before you do this again. So this leads to so many, like, how is he going to progress through the series now? He has to figure out, because, you know, he's mastered the ability to put the pressure on one aspect of his body, but now he's gonna have to figure out how he can just not basically damage himself, and I'm looking forward to that. But to learn that actually All Might himself is also quirkless. Like, originally, he was the same as Deku. His mentor gave him his quirk, and he never had one. Back in his day, it was still uncommon for people not to get quirks, supposedly, but still, he was an odd one out. So the fact that All Might, #1 hero, was quirkless, it gives Deku a little bit of hope, because he's thinking, like, people are more skilled for your quirk than me, and All Might admits, like, Todoroki, absolutely, you know, there's so many good, like, if you add onto their ability, they would guaranteed be superheroes, like, no sidekicks, guaranteed superheroes, but I was given the same shot I'm giving you, and I'm not going to abandon you, and, like, that entire, like, piece of dialogue, and just their interactions and building up, I absolutely loved. I thought it was the most emotional aspect, in my humble opinion, of the episode. I know a lot of people are going to be like, oh, the whole hero killer and Ida's brother, but for me, it was just that moment between All Might and Deku in the hallway, and also just learning, like, he can't use his abilities anymore, but I just love, he's, like, All Might's kind of getting lectured and saying, like, you can't praise him for this, like, look at his body, look at what I had to do to even, like, recover him, but All Might said, you know, you were reckless, you know, you were trying to push your friend so he would overcome this, and yes, in hindsight, maybe you shouldn't have done that, because if you didn't, you would have been able to win and progress to the next round. But a part of being a hero is doing things like this, because Deku is selfless, you know? At the end of the day, he makes mistakes, he takes risks, he doesn't just do things for his own reason, he's doing it to help others, and I think that's the most important aspect of being a hero. And All Might seems to agree, so I like how he does praise him in kind of an indirect way, even though he was supposed to kind of scold him for it, but I thought that stuff was really interesting. But I mean, the Ida stuff with his brother, I mean, as soon as, like, even before that you hear, like, or before you see the hero killer, I had a sneaking suspicion he was going to die. I wasn't sure how he was going to die, but it was like, oh yeah, you know, I was trying to call my brother, and he's on a mission. It's like, oh, well, you're probably never going to talk to your brother again, and then you see the hero killer, and of course, he gets taken out. And yeah, it sucks for Ida, and I mean, you feel for him because his entire thing is looking up to his brother, so it's sad in that sense, but for me, it would be different if it was Ida, like if Ida got killed doing something like a mission or something like that, like a training mission, absolutely, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, they killed Ida. So I feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's like, well, I mean, I saw it coming, and also it's like, I didn't really know this character minus what was said off screen, more or less. So for me, it's not that shocking, but it definitely is going to be relevant, because I assume now that, you know, the baddies are all kind of teaming up together, that's going to be the second arc after this festival ends next week, is when I assume this arc's going to end. So I think it does set up a lot of really interesting possibilities, but I think personally for myself, the more emotional side is the Deku and All Might stuff. I'm sure I'm going to be the odd one out there, not just being like, holy hell, we got a hero killer and all this other stuff, and it's cool, don't get me wrong, but that's not the most amazing stuff to me. I think it's definitely going to be interesting next week how Ida's mentality is going to be. Like, that's going to be hard to watch, I'm sure. But I'm just digging just everything that this show's going for. It doesn't need to have overly explosive to be emotional for me. And I just really like this episode overall, and I think this final match is going to be, it's going to be pretty good, I'm going to say. I mean, I'm just excited for more. I think just on point with just the art and animation, the sound, everything about this series has been very highly polished, and hopefully this level of quality can continue into the second half. But let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. Did you love the episode? Did you hate it? Did you think it was just okay? And for manga readers, how is the adaptation in terms of this episode? So let me know your thoughts, and before you leave, smack that like button to show your support. If you're new to the channel, be sure to subscribe. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.